You are now watching the Lone Blown. Blown! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? You're back here at the Lone Blown. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today we're going to be going over a video of a deck that I like to call Hybrid PikaRom. Now you might be like, yo Zach, what is a Hybrid PikaRom? Well, it takes part of the Pikachu and Zekrom-GX deck, and it really focuses on attacking with Mewtwo and Mew. It's different from Lightning Mewtwo because it doesn't have all the different attacks. It's literally just Raichu, Alolan Raichu, and PikaRom. But the deck does function a little bit differently than PikaRom, although if you ask me which deck it would be adhering to the most, it is normal PikaRom. So that's what we're going to get into today. The list is going to be below in the description. Feel free to copy and paste that there. If you're missing any of the cards from that deck, go to PTCGO plug in code ZLassage5 to save 5% off your next order. There's also a few other sponsors and links to check out there. And if you like this kind of content, or if you've been liking the content on my channel lately, feel free to give this video a like, a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to the channel as well for more great Pokemon content. Let's get into it. Let's get it going. So here is the pictured list. I actually think that this deck's insane. Just kind of being super consistent, having a lot of different options, while basically functioning as a Pikachu and Zekrom-GX deck. I think Full Blitz is a very underrated attack right now, even though that this deck is largely considered one of the best decks, if not the best deck in formats. Full Blitz doing damage of 150 damage, and you are grabbing 3 Lightning Energy cards and attaching to one of your Pokemon is huge. Tapu-Koko is absolutely a deadly finisher. Doing 200 to the active, 170 to the back, as long as you have 6 energy attached to it. So I'll go through this deck one by one, explain to you exactly how it works, and explain to you how some of the different matchups work. This is a deck that's my testing team based off of Caleb Rogerson's deck. They basically have been playing PikaRom for a while. They're part of our testing crew. Busted player. They brought a very good PikaRom deck with Mewtwo to us, and we kind of refined it to a point of where we are at now. I'm the one who decided to add in the Tapu Koko V, but that's really a flex spot in the deck. So shout out to Caleb Rogerson, Gabe Smart, Daniel Altavilla for really working on this deck since Vivid Voltage came out. So let's jump into it. We got Crobat V. In most cases, it's Dark Asset, just drawing cards. You always want to play a combination of Crobat V and Dedenne-GX so that you could potentially go for the Dedenne change and Dark Asset, because Dedenne change, similarly, you can only use Dedenne change once per turn. This is very important because we want to pitch Lightning Energies, we want to pitch Pokemon like Pikachu and Zekrom, and Alolan Raichu in our discard pile. Eldegoss V just seems very important to get back our supporters. Having Boss for game is largely underrated. Boss is likely one of the best cards that we have in the entire game right now. And Happy Match is allowing us to get that back. Now, there's other cases where I've played this deck and I've been able to use Team Yell Grunt to grab back a Team Yell Grunt to take away all my opponent's energy, or just Marnie them, or use a Professor's Research if I really need to. Eldegoss functions very similar to Crobat and to Dedenne as a consistency crutch. It's just slightly different, obviously, because it's using a supporter. Boltund might be the best card in the deck with 2 copies. Electrify is what you want to do on your first turn every single game. So search your deck for 2 Lightning Energies, and you usually want to attach them to a Mewtwo. So you could always copy either PikaRom or Alolan Raichu with perfection. We attach them to the Mewtwo and Mew-GX because Mewtwo and Mew-GX functions as a searchable big charm. You can see that the HP of PikaRom is 240, the HP of Alolan Raichu is 260. This Pokemon actually has 270 HP, so not only do you get the benefit of having 1, 2, 3, 4, even you can copy Dedenne-GX 5, 6 attacks, you get the extra HP, lower retreat cost, and it only comes at the cost of, if you play against any deck that has a psychic weakness, you could just revert yourself back into a normal Pikachu and Zekrom-GX deck. So you really want to power up that to give yourself the options. Boltstorm, once you get enough energies in play, you always want to be doing your math on Boltstorm to see if you can get a huge knockout. This is a deck that, like, sometimes I play quickly, and I wish I do not play quickly, because Boltstorm can often lead to some game-winning combinations. We went over Dedenne-GX, we went over Pikachu and Zekrom-GX. Raichu, Alolan, Raichu-GX, at only one copy, might be the most important attacker in this game. This deck plays a lot of disruption cards in the form of Crushing Hammer, Reset Stamp, and Marnie. And I guess there's always Chaotic Swell and Team Grunt. You could play multiple versions of those cards, or multiple copies of those cards. Use Tandem Shock on your opponent's active Pokemon, copying Raichu, Alolan, Raichu with Mewtwo. And your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. So if you go into an ADP on your second turn of the game, you could use Tandem Shock, paralyze them, Marnie them. They're at 4 cards in their hand. If they don't get a switch, they basically lose the game there. Then you could full blitz to your active, and then go boss for game the next turn. So Raichu, Alolan, Raichu can be deadly. Lightning Raichu-GX is not too shabby at all either, taking your Raichu from the active to the bench and doing upwards of 250 damage if you have enough energies. You can get those energies with full blitz. Next up, Tapu Koko Prism Star, what allows this deck to kind of get those extra energies in play. You could always power up a Boltstorm very quickly, or you could use Tapu Koko Prism Star in combination with the 2 copies of Energy Switch that there are in the deck to power up your Pokemon in various ways, getting 2 energies on one Pokemon, 1 energy on 2 Pokemon, or even 1 energy on 1 Pokemon, depending on the necessity of the attack. Mach Bolt is also not too shabby of an attack. You could always electrify to this to give yourself a slight chance against Pokemon such as Altaria or Decidueye. I mean, I don't necessarily like those odds, but sometimes you gotta know all your options. Tapu Koko V is really a card that I've included over the past week in this deck. I think that it's a card that could be good against all the Boltunds. This past weekend, there was a lot of PikaRom decks that played 4 Boltunds after we saw Pedro do well at some of the online events. So his deck included 4 copies of Boltund. Boltund is 200 HP. Thunderous Bolt is more of a reaction to that. If you didn't want to have the Tapu Koko V in your deck, this spot could be a Vikavolt V, which might help against some of the control that won, or that did very well at the Hedgester event on Monday. There's also a lot of options here, just like maybe adding a Professor's Research. You could add an Energy Switch. You could add a few copies. Tapu Koko V has been in and out of PikaRom for the longest while. And it's just something, it has Free Retreat as well. I don't hate the card, I just think it's super interesting right now in the current metagame. Mewtwo and Mew-GX can copy our Pokemon, we've gone over that. Cherish Ball functions as an extra search card, allowing us to grab a GX Pokemon. Now they won't be able to grab any of our V cards, but it could grab Dedenne, Pika, Raichu, or our Mewtwo Mews. Mewtwo Mew cannot be searched out with Electromagnetic Radar, so out of a traditional list, we basically cut an Electromagnetic Radar for a Cherish Ball to give Mewtwo an extra chance of being out because it's so important. Crushing Hammer is largely likely the most important card in the format. Just discarding energies off your opponent's Pokemon is absolutely wild. And I think it's one of those things where if you get a heads mixed with a turn 1 Electrify is often game changing. So this deck's absolutely insane. Just Crushing Hammers, Team Grunts, you could take all the energies off an ADP, etc. Electromagnetic Radar, you could search your deck for any 2 Lightning GX Pokemon. You could search out Lightning EX, although they are rotated out of our format, so that will allow you to grab the Dedenne, PikaRom, and Raichu, Alolan, Raichu combination of cards. There's also Energy Switch, which you can move your energies. Quick Ball, all of the Pokemon in this deck are basic Pokemon. I have seen players play Jolteon GX in this deck as well, instead of the Tapu Koko V spot. So you could keep that in mind. You wouldn't be able to grab it with Quick Ball, but it is another option. Reset Stamp, you usually want to go Boltund in most games, and then stick them with 2 Tag Team Pokemon. So your opponent is at 8 prize. So your opponent's drawing 8 prize cards. So they draw 2 prize cards, then they draw 3 prize cards. That puts them at 5. So you could stamp them to 1, and then just kind of hopefully they get nothing. That's what Reset Stamp is. You play and you're like, I hope they get nothing. Switch allows you to get in and out of things. It's very important because a lot of other decks are very similar. So they're going to tandem shock you. You need to just move your energies, keep energies in play for Bolt, Storm, and other attacks. Chaotic Swell is more or less a stadium that doesn't necessarily matter, but when you're playing against a deck that plays Giant Hearth, it matters the most of times. Stadiums aren't crazy important in this format, at least right now. So I just say that it's one of those things that it will likely be important while you play, but feel free to pitch them if you know it's in your opponent's deck. Boss, you could bring up whatever you want. Maybe you want to tandem shock something on the bench that has a bunch of energies and play a reset stamp at the same time. Maybe you're going for that Tag Bolt GX to draw 4 to 5 prize cards. Boss orders is insane. Marnie to disrupt their hands. There's not a better feeling than marnieing away all your opponent's switches while they pass after a tandem shock. Professor's Research is just probably the best draw supporter we have in the game right now, so no reason why this deck would not play a few copies. And Team Yell Grunts, some lists play this, some lists don't. I kind of like the added, just being able to lift energies off of Pokemon and tandem shock. It takes away a lot of their options. Air Balloon gives you mobility on most of your Pokemon, with Mewtwo having to retreat, or less. The only Pokemon that has more is Pikachu Zekrom-GX, but you could also supplement that with an energy. You have Speed Lightning Energy, which allows you to draw 2 cards when you play it. It allows you to just like kind of pop off on their energies. So it's one of those things where you play it down, draw 2 cards. You don't get the cards off the Mewtwo, but it still counts as a lightning energy. It doesn't need to be attached to a lightning Pokemon to count as lightning energy. Then we have enough energies to work for Full Blitz, Boltund V, and Tapu Koko Prism Star. So I know that this is kind of a large explanation, but basically when you're going through matchups, you want to go second in, I think, every single case, going with Electrify into a Mewtwo and Mew, or a PikaRom, or a Raichu, Alolan Raichu. The only times that you want to use Pikachu or Raichu are when your opponent plays Psychic-type Pokemon. Otherwise, Mewtwo is strictly better. Unless, of course, your opponent plays Power Plant or another way to shut off your abilities. That is something to note, and do keep in mind of your opponent's deck. Discarding energies off Pokemon that can come and get you are usually better than getting the energies off the Pokemon that you tandem shock, but you really want to go for either tandem shock or Full Blitz. You can even go for Bolt Storm and poke your opponent's active Pokemon if you don't necessarily think they can provide an upcoming threat. This deck boasts positive matchups against ADP, against Centiskorch, Eternatus, Baby Blacephalon, with it having a fairly equal matchup against Lightning Mew and PikaRom. I'd say that this deck's built a little bit better than most of those decks, so I'd argue and say that it's slightly favorable in those matchups, but it's one of those things where the slightly favorable might be 52-48, and it's more of how experienced you are with this deck as well. So why don't I showcase how this deck is played a little bit in some of those games. So let's jump into it and let's see what's going on. Okay, so our opponent's calling the coin flip. We'll give them the hello heart, as I typically do. And you can see we actually got an okay start here. We go Mewtwo, Mew in the active, because it gives us more mobility. I think this hand's absolutely bonkers. We're going second. We can get Boltund V. We get a lot of good things going on here. Now, our opponent starting with Vikavolt V is either playing a Vikavolt V deck, or they are playing some kind of PikaRom variant themselves. PikaRom's been extremely popular, and I mean, Vikavolt is a very popular tech in that deck as well. And with Jirachi there, Jirachi's not super common in PikaRom anymore. It could still be PikaRom, but we'll have to see exactly what's going on. I think for a large portion of this, I'm probably going to end up pitching this entire hand. So let's go with Electromagnetic Radar here, discarding the Raichu and a Lightning Energy, which will get us a PikaRom and a Dedenne-GX. Now we can see we have Boltunds here. We want to go through our prize cards, check through exactly what's going on We have access to all of our Pokemon as far as I'm concerned. We are missing a copy of Reset Stamp. We are missing a copy of Marnie. That's 2 prize cards. We are missing a lot of energies here. So I believe we are missing 4 energies with the lightnings right there. So I'm going to grab PikaRom and Dedenne-GX. We do have Tapu Koko, but Full Blitz might not necessarily be our best attack. Let's just go ahead here with PikaRom. And I'm going to grab the Boltund. Normally I would discard that energy that we have in this hand right now, but with the shocking 4 energies prized here, I mean, as long as I'm counting correctly, that's just a little bit too much. So let's go to Dedenne-GX. Hopefully we can get out of the active spots. This is completely fine. We can put down this Tapu Koko, and we can go Air Balloon. Do that. We have our Tapu Koko Prism Star there. And we don't have 2 energies because we didn't discard the other one. So let's just go for Electrify. Get those energies on our Mewtwo and Mew-GX. Let's see, we have both of them in the discard pile, and let's see how it goes. Not particularly the greatest hand, but Speed Lightning Energy seems pretty cool. So as long as our opponent doesn't go like Boss on Tapu Koko Prism Star, we should be okay to do a lot of things. Obviously, with them using Paralyzing Bolt, it could be interesting. Now, yeah, it looks like they are playing PikaRom. I don't know how they're necessarily getting their energies onto their PikaRom. So, an interesting build of PikaRom at the very least. But we'll do our best to get around this. Yeah, they're going to go Paralyzing Bolt there. Interesting so far. I think here it's probably best for us to go for Electrify again to get more energy into play. I do want to draw more cards here. So I do think Boltund V is important in this matchup. So I am going to go ahead and power this up. And I am going to go for Electrify. So even if they go for a knockout, I'm completely fine with this. I'd actually prefer it because we can get a knockout in return with our Boltund V. Because we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But maybe they'll just go with Paralyzing Bolts and it's going to be an awkward transaction. We're likely not getting out of the active spot this turn. Now, I guess we're only 1 energy away from getting a knockout, so let's just go for Dance of the Ancients early. Let's power up this Tapu Koko Prism Star. Or this Tapu Koko V, I should say. Oh my gosh, this is rough. I'm just gonna boss orders that up, and then I'm gonna pass. Yeah, I'm just gonna vibe. If we had more energies, this would actually be so much better. I mean, we likely would have drawn into an energy to knock out the Vikavolt V. But we're hoping to get a switch out here so we can start doing some other things. We're in a very poor position right now, just due to the amount of having 4 energies prized, and that's the luck of the draw sometimes. But that's okay. I don't think we're in a losing position yet. We have a lot of good things going on here, a lot of energy in play in general. Our opponent is using Dance of the Ancients to power up a Jirachi and a Vikavolt V. So, I mean, I do think there's worse things that could happen. Maybe they're going to go Lightning Energy and go for Full Blitz. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're still a few energies away from making it all happen. But this would be a really good opportunity for us to go forward and Marnie our opponents. We do have access to Eldegoss V here, so we can go ahead and Marnie after they do get the Full Blitz knockout. If they are greedy with the energies in the active spots, they haven't used any copies of Switch yet, but it could be We just gotta see what's going on. Maybe they'll power up their Raichu, Alolan Raichu. Who are they going to power up? That's the big question. Okay, so they're not going all in on the PikaRom. Send up our free retreater and give ourselves some of those options. Now, Reset Stamp might not necessarily be our best choice. Right now, I'd rather give our opponent a 3 prize card Pokemon first. And Marnie to me seems too important. Let's go Crushing Hammer, try to take some of their energies away. It's just a game. Why does that have to be the game that I record for y'all that just doesn't work for this deck? We're going to go Marnie here and see what goes on. So no energies, obviously, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go. Nope, another one. I mean, I'm sure you could see from the opposite side of how important this can be sometimes. There's no way of getting an energy. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's go for Tandem Shock. So Tandem Shock will make them paralyzed, and we can get a knockout next turn. If they do not do Switch, I mean, if they don't do Switch, I feel pretty good. If they do Switch, I think we're probably out of this game. But this is really the moment in most games where you're like, does my opponent have Switch? Tandem Shock, very powerful attack. Maybe they're just attaching an energy and they're going to go pass. Usually you try to attach an energy towards the end of your turn unless they're playing a Professor's Research. Okay, and it looks like here they're going to go for a Dedenne-GX. That was a big charm. I don't see any reason why they would discard. Okay, they do have Switch. Yeah, this game seems like it's absolutely over. But you want to know what? We could maybe get a Switch ourselves and Switch, Paralyze, and do something else. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of options like that. Maybe they don't play enough Switch because they play copies of Scoop Up Nets. Oh, and they're going to go for a knockout there. Interesting. So now we have the option to go Reset Stamp to 2. So that might be a bit of a rough call on our opponent's behalf. Let's send up this because it has free retreats. And we have the Switch there as well. There's no reason. Okay, so let's go Air Balloon onto the Crobats. There's no point of putting Dedenne-GX down, I don't think. I think we just want to go with... Or actually, maybe there is a point to put down Dedenne-GX. Okay, so let's go Crushing Hammer. There's Reset Stamp in there, that's a fact. There's really not much else I want to do. It sucks that we're going to get rid of a Switch here. But that's okay. We need to get Reset Stamp. We did get Reset Stamp. Crushing Hammer. I mean, Crushing Hammer has not been our friend this game, but that's okay. We are going to go ahead and take the energy away. So let's go Tandem Shock. So they're paralyzed. Maybe they have nothing here. And that's really what we need to hope for, that they have nothing there. If they have Switch, Boss, whatever. It happens. But it does show you fully how this deck can kind of become resilient, even in the worst of times. Yeah, they just naturally have Switch. I really don't think we're going to be able to get through this game super well. But we'll see exactly what our opponent gets here. It's almost infuriating, considering, like, we've played this game as close to perfectly as possible. And it's really just the energies in our discard, or in our prize cards, that's causing us to lose. Something that's out of our control. Getting 4 out of our 10 prize cards is absolutely, it's like unheard of. Okay, there's a Marnie. Maybe they'll just go Marnie, and we could go Boss next turn. How many Boss have we played? Just one? So we should be able to get a boss here. I wish we had another reset stamp. Oh, they're going to go for a switch there. Interesting. This is very bad. I don't think we actually have a way to end this game now, considering our Pokemon have 200 HP. They can attack us with Tag Bolts. Maybe, like, they can do 150. Maybe if they don't have the energy. Yeah, if they didn't get the switch, we would have been in a much better position there. That's okay. Let's just go Thunderbolt and pray that our opponent does not have an energy for them to use Lightning Ride. And as if our last remaining prize cards are all the energies. Yeah, so if they don't have the energy, they can't use Lightning Ride. They have 6 in play, 8, 9, 10. They only have access to 3, so if their 3 are at like the bottom of their deck, just gotta see if we got chances. Oh, that seems interesting. Do we have a switch? We do have a copy of Switch left. Oh, and they have Great Catcher. I didn't even see the... It happens. We'll just jump into another one, see how it goes. Okay. Little Worm Goes Oh is calling the coin flip. Hopefully we get to go seconds. We lost the coin flip. Maybe they'll go first because they're playing ADP. It seems like they're playing ADP, at least with the deck box. This hand's actually seems pretty okay. If anything, it's better than last game because we have the Speed Lightning energy, we have Electromagnetic Radar to discard those energies, so as long as we didn't... I think we're doing pretty good here. And the fact that they're just going Metal Energy with Intrepid Sword, as long as they don't get a few Metal Energies here, I feel pretty okay about this. Okay. So before I go through with anything, I am going to go Speed Lightning Energy, because that usually gives me more options than not. Let's go Electromagnetic Radar, discarding these two. I will grab this and this. I'm going to put the Raichu down on the bench because it's largely one of the most important cards we have in this deck. And I'm going to go for a Marnie. I don't think there's really much else. I don't want to put PikaRom down because we already have one in our discard pile. We're really trying to get a Mewtwo and Mew. We really got a poor hand off this. I feel terrible because I'm like, yo guys, check out this busted deck. It gets set up like all the time. It's super consistent. And then here we are facing just some rough draws. That's completely fine. We might be able to... I don't know what our opponent's going to do. Maybe our opponent will reset stamp us, Marnie us at some point. Maybe they're playing Luke Metal. I have no clue. Their deck's a little bit all over the place with all these different techs, so... We'll have to see how it all plays out. But Boltund V is not bad. I'm fine just getting Boltund V. If this is Luke Metal, if anything, it's going to go a little bit better for us than not. And there's Luke Metal, yep. So we're just going to spread our energies around as much as possible. Should be completely cool. Never seen this Jirachi in Luke Metal. This Jirachi's okay at drawing cards. I thought it was a lot better when I first saw it, but it's a card that I'm probably going to pass on picking up, at least for the time being. So Metal Saucer, are they... Huh. Interesting, okay, so they're just going to go Intrepid Sword. I don't know why they didn't go for Dreamy... I don't think they used Dreamy Revelation. Okay, let's just go for Electrify, getting some more energies in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just got a vibe out here. Like, we have nothing going on in our hands. And sometimes you just gotta do what you can do with nothing in your hands. Maybe our opponent has nothing in their hand as well. It's somehow Pokemon gives you hands like this, and you just gotta see if you can make it through. There are plenty of games that I've played in Pokemon that have looked like this, and I've been able to pull them off at the very end. So I highly recommend playing out most of your games. Some games are absolutely a complete wash, but when you upset concede, that's when you take away a lot of your opportunities in Pokemon. So I mean, sometimes the path is narrow, but it exists, and you play for it. For me, I mean, my opponent's not getting out of the active spot anytime. They're not doing it so far. What happens if worse comes to worse? They take away 3 of my energies. I still have Tapu Koko Prism Star. Worse things could happen, right? I'm not going to build up energies to a level of where it gets ridiculous. There's the Malolana. If they just take the energy off the active, that might be... yeah, I don't know why they would do the energy off the active. And you can see we got the Electromagnetic Radar. Which we can grab that. So we're kind of jumping back into this game. I am going to go for a Switch Paralysis. Let's go Crushing Hammer, try to take away their energy on their bench. Nope, that's not going to happen. The Reset Stamp's not going to really do anything. Tapu Koko V does have Free Retreat. I do appreciate that. And I will draw some cards as well. So we will take that energy off that Pokemon. We are going to attach to the Boltund V. And we are going to go ahead with a Tandem Shock. So it is not going to do a crazy amount of damage. But it did come... It is doing 100 damage to them. And if they don't have a switch, then I think we're in good hands here. They do have a Malolana to heal everything off, which is a little bit gross. That's okay, they're wasting a Malolana. And they could hit us for 30 damage. It's really not going to do a lot. Give myself the Free Retreat. No point about playing out any of these cards, and I'm going to go Research. I am going to give myself an extra energy. And we are going to go Tandem Shock. So if they don't get anything next turn, we will get the knockout with our GX attack, sending up a Tapu Koko V or a Dedenne-GX or something like that. I mean, now they can't play Malolana, that means that they have a switch. There's an Air Balloon, there's a Metal Goggles, and they're just going to probably go for Intrepid Sword. Please? We could always hope, right? You don't ever want to really hope against your opponent, but Pokemon's one of those games where there's a winner, a loser, or there's a tie. In some cases you can't tie, like PTCGO ladder. Yeah, so we're going to be able to take out their Luke Metal, and this Pokemon allows us almost an extra win con. I am going to go ahead here. Attach the energy there. See if Crushing Hammers will give us a heads. We might as well take away this metal energy to give them less options. Not like the weakness matters, they just can't get it back from the discard pile. I think that's the correct choice. They don't play Energy Switch. And Marnie gives us a better chance of getting a boss orders next turn, which will really allow us to control the game. I'm going to go through a Cherish Ball. I should have checked a little bit more. Yeah, there's no switching cards left. But there are energies. That's fine. I'm just going to grab this. And I'm going to go for a Lightning Ride, because I'm assuming they're going to get a knockout here. So I'm just going to feed them the Dedenne-GX. I should be able to get an Air Balloon, actually, out of the prize cards. And the reason why I think it's going to be an Air Balloon out of the prize cards is because we prized double Air Balloons. And I guess I should have also said switch too, because we had a pretty good chance. So I mean, 50% of our prize cards were switching cards. That's why I felt comfortable setting that up. I just don't want to sacrifice like a Boltund or even like Tapu Koko V. I mean, Tapu Koko V is probably fine to sacrifice here, but with our opponent using one Metal Saucer, if they don't really find their Metal Saucers, they're going to be in a really tough position. And all they've done is really knocked out a Dedenne-GX. We'll have a lot of energies in play, 5, 6, 7, 8 energies in play, so we should be able to hit into this Zacian V pretty hard. We've got a 9th energy in play. We're doing 280 damage, minus 60, which is just enough to get a knockout in Oko with the Boltund V. So we gotta see how it goes. I mean, this game went from being terrible for us to us kind of bringing it back. I mean, again, it's really just showing the power of Pikachu Zekrom. There's a lot of different matchups that you could play with this and see how it goes. There's that Dreamy Revelation. So our win con here is by knocking out Jirachi and then knocking out Zacian V to draw our remaining 3 prize cards, because this Pokemon's going to be relatively easy to knock out. This Pokemon obviously going to be a little bit more difficult, but we might even have the knockout in our hand right now. One thing that sucks is that we are bench logged, so we can't play anything down necessarily, like another Eldegoss, or like an Eldegoss, Dedenne, Tapu Koko, Prism Star. So usually try to keep one more bench spot. Our awkward start is what I'd probably blame this for. I don't know why they go Stunfisk V there. Maybe they're just trying to get Snap Trap out there because they already realized that Jirachi doesn't matter. Or are they going to take the knockout, though? Interesting. Perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. That's 250, 250 minus 30. Well, actually, I think we already get it because that's an Air Balloon and not a Metal Goggles. That's fine. We'll just send up the Tapu Koko V and see what we can get here. Let's go Quick Ball discarding Mewtwo because that's not going to matter too much. We do have access. We do have our Tapu Koko Prism Star prized. I think it's better for us just to go try to get into those energies here. I don't want to pitch this hand, though. Go energy switch from here to here. Yeah, I don't want to pitch that hands. Give us that energy. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to go Speed Lightning Energy here to draw some more cards. Yeah, and our opponent's just going to concede. And that's what we got going on for this video today. I mean, I think this is one of the strongest decks in the format. I've played at a few of the Hexter tournaments, and as you can see, like, even with some dead hands, you can bring it around. First game was absolutely atrocious with the 4 energies prized, and that's going to happen sometimes. But in the best 2 out of 3 format, this deck is significantly better. So for any of the bigger upcoming tournaments, like the regional championships for Hyperlux or the Chill TCG series, with the GG Tour, this would be a very great choice for those events. I mean, I would definitely give it a try, see exactly how it goes. And if you did like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Totally appreciate all y'all watching up to this point. Got a lot of great content planned for the channel, so stay tuned for that, and we'll catch up with all of y'all another time. Have a great one, and peace out. Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks, and have yourself a great one.